Okay, welcome back to the Rock and Roll channel, Jericho Cruise Edition, and I got arguably one of the most famous people ever to be on that ship, Dezzie the Eskimofo. Proud to call him a friend, not just on the ship, but on land too. And I figured I'd invite him on. He's been on everyone just like me, and like I think I have a lot of memories on this ship, and I'm sure Dezzie's is like crazier than mine. So he's going to talk about how much the cruise means to him because he's passionate about it 12 months a year, getting ready for it, everything. So I figured let's give him a chance to talk about how much the cruise means to him. He's got a match tonight before the cruise where he's defending his title, Totally Arctic Wrestling Championship, against Ring of Honor and New Japan alum Cheeseburger. And he's also the subject of a documentary if he wants to get into that as well. So Dezzie, welcome. Before we get into everything, man, how have you been?
Oh, man, brother, thank you so much. I've been amazing. Things are pretty awesome up here. The north is always cold. We're in our coldest time of the year right now. So I'm looking forward to getting down to some Miami heat this next week, spending a couple days in Miami before the cruise, as is our tradition, which we're really looking forward to, and bringing my daughter for the first time. So this is going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. I warned you, though, it was 58 degrees today here, so I hope you're able to handle that.
Yeah, this is why I don't go down there in the summertime, right? I only go down there in the wintertime when it's like closer to. But, like with the equator and stuff, you guys are pretty close to that. So it's like it's hot always.
Yes, exactly.
But like when you break it down to Celsius, like right now, our cold is like minus 25 Celsius. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to plus 25 Celsius where like, Florida. So like on the boat. So I see people wearing sweaters on the cruise ship and I'm just like, really? Like I can't wear t-shirts on the cruise ship or I get like sweaty, right? So it's like,
your body temperature, right? Yeah, because for those you don't know, Dezzie's from Canada and probably one of the coldest parts, I would imagine, right?
Well, it's funny because I'm up in northern Canada. I'm up in Nunavut, Northwest Territories, up in the NWT, but it's not the coldest because what we're seeing now is like strips of Alberta into Calgary, Edmonton, northern Alberta, and into BC, into the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
That's becoming the coldest part of Canada now, consistently over the last few winters. And that's where we're seeing a lot of like the minus 40, 45, and even touching into minus 50 Celsius. So it's getting cold.
That's awesome. So we'll talk about the cruise now because it's probably we're almost a week away from it. Literally 8 days as of tomorrow. Not that we're counting down anything. So I'll give my backstory. So Dezzie and I don't think we met on the first cruise. We probably passed each other a million times, knew people who knew both of us. But second cruise, first day, the famous guardrail story. So if you're ever in the Facebook group or you see me and Dezzie say guardrail brothers, here's the story. First day of the second cruise, it was before the Sail Away concert. And if you've never been on a Jericho cruise, Fozzy does the Sail Away show. They do a toast, and that's when you know it's really happening.
Yeah.
Dezzie and I'm saying this Dezzie, a bunch of his friends, and we start chatting, and he's telling me about where he's from in Canada. I told him that I made like the long 45-minute drive, and he's like, oh, my God. And we were by a guardrail. By where the concert was, Rich Ward came over and said hi to us because he recognized both of us. Shout out Rich Ward. And we ended up talking, and we were joking that, by the guardrail, that's where Chris usually during Burn Me Out used to bring fans on the stage, which he stopped doing, which I can understand why. And then after that, it just stuck, and we called it Guardrail Brothers.
Yeah.
Did I get the story pretty close?
Yeah, exactly, bro. That was exactly it. I remember because on the first cruise, we actually went up for Burn Me Out. I was up on the stage for Burn Me Out on the first cruise. And then he actually did that again when he played in Edmonton a month later. So I got up on stage with him twice. So I was kind of thinking, okay, this is going to be what they're doing again. So I was kind of hanging out and just checking out the spot to see when that was going to be gathering. And that's when they're like, yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. And then we met and it was like, oh shit, like this is cool, man. And man, every cruise since, amazing.
Every cruise since, we always tend to meet in that spot. And we just, when I see
everywhere we are, bro, even the buffet line, wherever it is, it's like, yo.
Yeah, so we still meet there, even though they don't take us up anymore. We'll meet there. It's like we know the cruise is happening. So you've been on every one of them. I'm sure you got a million stories. What is this? I know it's special to you, the cruise, man. I mean, it's a light way of putting it. What is it about the cruise that it's so near and dear to you, and you haven't missed one yet?
So this is it, is like, the first cruise I was brought on, I heard about it and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It was, an old buddy of mine, a guy I'm not really talking to anymore, but, he was the one that got me on booked us for the first cabin on the first cruise. And that's, where I met Taryn, and that's when that whole friendship started, and that whole the brotherhood into, it became the Drunk Eyed Canadians and the Taryn and Des show and everything else we've been doing since then. But I think it really quickly became like a fellowship and a family, sort of a reunion of people I didn't know, but people who liked the same things I did.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I ever experienced it, before the Jericho cruise, this was like years before, almost 10 years before the Jericho cruise, I went to a Metallica concert in Edmonton. And I don't like being up in Inuvik. We're like, dude, I'm an hour and a half away from the Arctic Ocean, right? So I'm very remote. So there's no although Metallica did come to the coast in 95 when I was 12 years old. That was my first concert.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get to go to a lot of shows, right? So I don't know the culture, right? I don't know that whole thing. And music festivals always seemed very interesting to me, because it was like a bunch of bands that you like in a place, at once, and you experience it all, and you're with friends, and it's like-minded people. And so I went to a Metallica concert, and I was sitting on the floor, people were passing joints and having a good time. And you realize really quickly that you're all there for the same reason, because you love Metallica, and you're there because you love their songs, or, you connect to the band. So I've got my arm around strangers, and we're singing songs together that we know, that we've been singing since we were kids. And I don't know this guy. I've just met this guy, right? And that's the vibe I got off of you was, man, I don't know this guy, but I know we have the same passion for wrestling and for this rock. And so it's like, yo, let's just vibe, right? And that's kind of been the vibe with everybody on the boat. So then it became quickly like, even on the first cruise, I remember the first couple of nights, one of my buddies, the guy I don't talk to anymore, he was the one who literally, because I was going nuts. I'd never been with anything like this before. And now there's wrestlers that I've seen on TV, and they're just hanging out, watching matches. There's concerts happening left and right. I was so overwhelmed, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I was marking out everywhere, right? High energy shit. And I remember the buddy, he goes to me and he says, hey, man, that's not really a good look. I'm trying to make some real business connections here. So can you just calm it down, because we're talking to like some bigwigs over here. And I laughed and I said, bro, if that's your agenda, if that's your plan, then you do you. I'm going to go party. So then what ended up happening was, and this is my first Jericho cruise story, that ended up with me and meeting Chris, was I ended up just going off and kind of like spite partying. Like I was like, if this guy thinks I'm loud now, you wait, buddy. Like
I can go heal on you.
And so I went hard. I had the drink package, and I was just going left and right. And I figured out a really good way to meet friends is like, hey, buddy, what are you drinking? Let's have a drink together, right? Let's talk. And it's a fun time. So networking is insane on that boat, because it was so fast. So I found myself at the casino getting drunk by myself, just saying hi to everybody. And who's at the bar there beside me but Spewy and Rybo.
Oh, Dave Spivak project.
I didn't know Spivak was there. I didn't know that Rybo. I didn't know them, because I didn't like. I've seen pictures of them in Chris's books, but I'm not that big of a. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't following it that tight. So I just start making conversation with these guys, and I'm buying them drinks, and we're laughing, having a good time and stuff. And then it's like, where are you guys from? Oh, you're Canadian too. That's awesome. And then they told me, they're like, yeah, here's who we are. And I was like, oh shit, like that's cool as fuck, right? So I ended up sitting with these guys all fucking night, laughing our asses off. And it happened for like 2 nights. We'd met up and we just have a good time. So by the third night, I think Taryn and Spivak had arranged it so that Chris was actually at one of the shows. I think it was like, I forgot what band it was off the first night, but it was one of the after the concerts.
Yeah,
and they brought me up to Chris.
Yeah,
and Chris was like, "Yo, like, what's up?" And Dave says to him, like, "Yeah, this guy has come from the farthest tip of the continent to be here with us." And he says, "Yeah, bullshit." And I'm like, "Really?" So I pulled out my driver's license, and Chris goes, "Inuvik." Oh wow, neat, bro. So we start talking, and so Chris and I started talking all the way back to the elevator from Magnums, right? So we went up the stairs, down the hall, and security's around us, and people are following, whatever. But we're just talking for a couple minutes, and it was crazy. This moment I had, we're all laughing. The entourage is there, red cup. Everybody's gonna go up the stairs and party now, and that was the big deal, right? That's the story that Taryn and I tell all the time. This is why we're the Taryn and Des show, is because we got to the elevators right outside of 7, right outside the atrium, like the main elevators, and they're about to go up to 14. Right? Like they're all about to go up to 14. Jericho was saying goodbye to me, and it was nice to meet me and stuff. Because Spivak was talking me up and everybody. It was hilarious. And Taryn is with me. So everybody gets in the elevator, and Jericho's like, "Yo, Taryn, come on, let's go." Like everybody, like, "Oh, Spivak, come on, Taryn, let's go." And she's like, "Well, and Des, right?" And he goes, "Taryn, come on," and she goes, "And Des." And then nobody, like, it was so quiet, like nobody said okay. They just kind of like let the doors close, right? So then next thing you know, Taryn and I are standing outside the elevators, and it's like, bro, did you just like not go upstairs because I wasn't allowed? Like they didn't invite me to? Like that's a real bro move right there, right? I was like, holy shit, you could have just gone up and partied all night with the fucking VIPs here. And so I was like, bro, so that was where it kind of solidified that, this girl is legit. We became best friends since then. Yeah. And it's just been a real broship since then, right? And so that's why the Jericho Cruise is important to me, because since then our family's grown to a point where, I think one year we had almost 30 or 40 people wearing Drunk-Eyed Canadian shirts, right? So,
oh, it's grown, your group. I mean, I remember for me, I was in the first 400 that booked. Yeah. I was a little, not hesitant, but I kind of put it off because we're so used to cruises down here. So I'm like, okay. And then I finally said, you got to pounce on this. I don't care that it's 13 months from now. Just book this thing. Yeah, it's Chris Jericho. He always seems to just do everything right.
Yeah.
I booked it. I was in the first 400 that he called the OGs.
Yeah.
Like the original OGs. A month before the cruise, Fozzy finished that tour before the first cruise in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
I couldn't make it to the concert, and I was bummed, but they did a signing that day at a record store.
Yeah.
All you had to do was buy a $15 CD or whatever, and you got to see them.
Yeah.
It was the day after the schedule came out for the first cruise. So what they did was they didn't want it where everybody just comes in and goes to Chris and leaves.
Yeah.
Right. So they did it where you had to go by each band member, and then
that's what they do with their VIPs. Yeah,
and it was so smart. So I go by Billy. We talk about the cruise a little, and they're kind of like, yeah. I said, well, I see you're doing the sail away party and blah blah blah, and they were like, Kiss Cruise, because remember they did that originally.
Yeah, they did.
And Jericho hears that from a distance and is like, he said, we're not doing the Kiss Cruise this year. You're doing my cruise. So I meet Rich, and we're talking, and then I get to Jericho, and I told him, yeah, as a 40th birthday gift to myself, I booked your cruise. Nice. So he's like, oh, man, when did you turn? When did you book? And I had my reservation on me because he signed. I still have it signed, the first ever cruise reservation. I said, here. He goes, no kidding. He saw the date, and he said, you're an OG. And then he asked me, he goes, did you get the schedule yesterday? Is there enough shit for you to do? And I'm like, all right, this guy has his hands in every part of the cruise. I was so impressed. I mean, I wasn't surprised, but it was nice to hear it. It wasn't like he was putting his name on a cruise and telling you what I like, and then I'll show up. I'll show up in Miami.
Yeah.
He's involved in every aspect. And I said, I expected nothing less from you, but I was just blown away.
Well, see, that was it. So two things I want to take from this. One, I want to ask you, I want to get into this. Did you ever do a 6-man cruise, one of these themed cruises before this one, or was this the first one for you?
First theme.
Yeah.
I'd always done regular cruises.
And so then, like, the other thing, too, is, like, a lot of people I remember were saying, like, oh, Jericho should have had this bigger band. Why doesn't he book a big band? Why doesn't he have this and bigger wrestlers and that and that? And I said, well, I'm sure he could. I'm sure he could spend the money on doing that. But what he wants is he wants to cultivate this sort of community where he's getting his own, like, this is what he's into. Right. He's sharing his interests and his childhood, his growth and his teenage years and his interests with everybody, right? The paranormal podcasts, the comedians, and the wrestling and then the music, like Kick Axe. I didn't know about them till they came on. You know what I mean? Like, so there's like a lot of really cool stuff that I've been introduced to. So,
and Red Cup Jeff pointed this out to me when I saw him recently. He said, "Look at how many of the wrestlers in the cruise have gone on to be major stars since that."
Yeah,
he knows what he's looking at, but he's told. I mean, as far as the bands, he has told the story 1,000 times. He looked into prices for the Papa Roaches and the Alter Bridges of the world. It was 3 times the budget.
Yeah.
And he said Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons basically told him, if your band's not headlining the ship, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
What I mean, who do you need to hear more from than them?
Yeah.
And he's admitted he took a bath on the first cruise.
Oh, very much so, bro. You
Pushed
could
through
tell.
it. So for
Yeah.
people to say, "Oh, I need this, I need that," you're crazy. It's easy when it's not you paying.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. And that's why I've done the Jericho Cruise experience, that's why I'm gonna do it again, is I'm a mad supporter of it. Like you said, I'm a really big, passionate supporter of this cruise because like, dude, man, we have the best time. Like, and so I've got tons, like you said, I've got Jericho stories. I've got, I've been up to the Haven one time. It was so fucking funny, dude. It was the one time that we did the dress like a wrestler day or whatever, right? It was like the costume day. And I was dressed like Shawn Michaels, so I had my red HBK chalk-line pants on. And it was one of those days I don't really look at myself and say, "Oh, I should change in case of whatever," right? I should look a certain way in case something happens. No, I'm just there having a good time, right?
Which he's there for too.
So we end up just upstairs, Cheese, Taryn, and I, and a couple of friends, and it's like talking to Ricky Starks, talking to Will Hobbs. Now we're just laughing with guys. At one point, Chris like called like sort of like a workers, like there was around like a circle of just workers, and he was kind of having a little bit of court or whatever with them and just sharing stories. And I laughed and I said, should I just walk up there and just like huddle in, right? Like just like, what are we talking about, boys, right? But it was funny as fuck because I'm up there and I realized while I was up there, I was like, oh shit, I'm wearing my fucking Shawn Michaels pants right now. I look like the biggest mark in the world, right? Like this is crazy.
Not
on
the Jericho Cruise.
But that's it though. But like nobody else there is like, but it's so funny because it's just like, I was like, oh shit, like I became really aware of this fact. And so Chris, like we're doing our thing, we're all talking, laughing. And dude, one of the most memorable things of fucking my whole life, dude, my whole fucking life. I was walking back to my friends and just in the big room. It's like a big room, right? The big living room place where the grand piano is. So I'm just walking back to them after a conversation with Chris about Inuit and stuff. And all of a sudden, fucking Orange Cassidy just walks up to me and he says, "Hey man, you having a good time?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm having the best fucking time." And he goes, "Yeah, man, that's what I want to hear." And he just smiled and he gave me a fucking pat and like just went on with his day. And I was like, "Bro, man, we're having like this is living dreams up here, dude."
It really is. I'd call it adult summer camp for 4 days.
That's exactly what it is, dude.
Yeah, that's
exactly
the best way I can think of it.
Yeah,
so
what I like to call it though, what I think of the ship as is the boat to Pleasure Island from Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So it's like literally like you can overindulge yourself and turn yourself into a jackass if you want to, right? If you want to. No, and then so it became kind of a thing, right? Like we're up in the front row, Chris points at us and sort of like I remember the first year they did To Kill a Stranger on the first cruise. They sang To Kill a Stranger. That was my first fucking Fozzy song I ever liked, and I've been loving it for 2 decades now. And I remember the first time I heard them play it live, it was like dark and there was like smoke effects and the lights and the whole vibe of me being on a cruise ship for the first time in my life. And I remember crying because I was like, dude, this is beautiful, right? This is beautiful. So I got to meet Chris at the meet and greet and Fozzy a month later. And we became friends after that. And so I remember telling him, like, bro, please play To Kill a Stranger again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please play it again. So on the second cruise ship, on the second boat, I remember I was off to the side. I wasn't like, we didn't do the front row thing until like the third and fourth and fifth boat. Mm-hmm. So I was just off in the back, in the middle somewhere, the crowd off to the side. And all of a sudden I hear, "We're going to play To Kill a Stranger because Des wanted it." And he's pointing at me because I'm like off to the side to the guardrail, like where the bar is towards the stairs. And he points at me and I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is the biggest show they're doing of the boat. And he just pointed me out. Like, that's wild, right?
You're being humble on that story, Des.
Bro.
You're being humble because I was standing about, I don't know, 20 feet behind you, 30 feet. He came and gave you the mic.
So that was the second time.
Okay. I don't want to correct you, but I remember.
So I'm building up to this.
Okay, sorry.
So that's how it started, though. This is how it started, right? It escalated.
It's your special thing, yeah.
Because on the second year, that was the second cruise where he said, because Des wanted it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, like, holy shit. And then it was on the third boat. It was on the triple whammy, where that's when we were standing so close that when it came time for them to play it, the clip is in our TDS opener. So Dez is from all the way up in Tuktoyaktuk, and he actually introduced me as part of the thing. And he's like, "This is Dez's favorite song. Is Dez, if you could name one song that's not very popular from the old days, what would it be?" And it's so funny because.
And he said, "I'm jumping off the effing boat if you don't say the song."
Yeah, he's like, and if you don't say the right one, I'm gonna throw myself off the side of the fucking boat. And
but
so
hey, we got a run in right now, Des. We got a run in. We got a special surprise and a run in. Somebody heard you were going to be on tonight, and they said they wanted to do a run in. So I'm going to bring this person on. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
The fuck is going on here?
Wow, how you doing, man?
I don't know.
He was just talking about drunk-eyed Canadians, and Jamal here,
dude,
6-time Rager as well, is a member of that group. I'm like an honorary member, but Jamal's a
I like to think I'm honorary oos. I like to think. I mean, I don't drink. I'm not Canadian, so I like to think of myself as honorary oos. I don't know if I'm a full member. I'm like,
yeah. He definitely wears the colors, though. We love him, man. How's it going, dude?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Just I got AEW going on in the background, man. They just made a match for Grand Slam. Looking forward to that, man. Just chilling on the Wednesday night, man. Like, yeah, I just want to see what's popping, man.
You ready for we're talking about cruise memories, man. So Dez told some of his awesome stories. What about you, Jamal? You've been on all of them.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've been on all of them. They start to kind of blend together at this point. It's just
in a good way.
Yeah, it's so many of them. Man, I mean, it's a lot, from doing karaoke with certain people and walking on the boat for the first time and meeting friends that, you've known for years. And I think maybe the first thing that comes to mind for me, I mean, it's just so many memories coming in my head at the same time. It's hard to, but the first one that comes to my head, I think the triple whammy, which was rough. We all know getting on that son of a bitch.
That was like the first post-COVID cruise.
Yeah, but to finally be back on after the weird year and a half we've had staying home and distancing, it was just like,
yeah,
we are
People
just
went nuts on that one.
Yeah, we are back. Everybody's got the drink package, so everybody's just wasted and just, yeah, it was.
We were in the safest place in the world. So all we did to go on that ship.
It's so funny because I remember we had to do a COVID test to get back to Canada. So we actually had to do a test on the boat. And I remember when we went down, there was a whole bunch of people around us. And when Taryn and I came back with negative tests, we were so excited. I was just celebrating and people were coming up to me. A total stranger comes up and says, "Hey, so I'm kind of relieved that you tested negative because I've been watching you and you're probably one of the more social people on the boat. You're like everywhere talking to people. So the fact that you're negative makes me feel good that I'll also be negative." And I was like, great. Thanks. Like,
Des is like, if I had to spend 2 weeks in Miami, I wouldn't have cried about it. But yeah, no, that one was 50% people, 60%,
something like
that. Have a full ship.
Yeah, it was something like
number 3. That one still sticks with Jamal because every time I see him, he's like, "Remember that third one? Remember that third one?"
It was just such a pain in the ass to get on. I waited for like 3 hours. I slept on the floor for a while. It was just rough, man.
Were you sleeping on the floor or were you playing the Orange Cassidy character?
No, I was definitely sleeping on the floor, and we were watching some of the guys near me. We were watching Crown Jewel because there was nothing else going on. We were just like,
I got on in like 2 hours. I was lucky.
No, that COVID line, I lucked out too. Being from Canada, I just literally, I had a different kind of form and everything than all the Americans. So I literally, the first person I saw, I said, "Hey, I want to make sure I got this all right." And then they said, "You know what? Come with me. Let's check." And they brought me out of the line to the front. And the person's like, "Yeah, this is all good." She said, "Do you want to go back in line with your friends or do you want us to just scan you now?" And I said, "Honestly, if you could scan me now, that would be amazing."
Wait longer. Yeah, that one we were the first cruise of any NCL ship.
Oh, wow.
For that third Jericho cruise.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I heard too that like some of like the employees for like the people that were supposed to do the testing, not everyone was there. So they were low staff too. So that made it even worse. So.
And they were contracted to be there till like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And the line was still going and they were like, we're out of here. It was a nightmare. I got lucky. I had the whole ship to myself for about 4 hours that day. I went to the lifeboat trail. They said, "We're not even having it. Just here you go." Like, it was insane. Like, it because we left about 2 hours late, which is no big deal. But
Wild.
Yeah,
So-
we seem to always leave late on these boats. It's always like 30 minutes late or an hour late. It
that
seems.
last one was 30 minutes late because of the Icon, the Royal Caribbean cruise, the monster ship. That was their inaugural leaving right when the last Jericho cruise was.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So that's why you guys avoided a lot of traffic on the highway that day, being nearby. But that being said, Jamal, I'm sure you have a vested interest. Dezzie, the night before, going for, I can't say it's the rubber match, but it's the third match with Cheeseburger. His rival, he's putting up the totally Arctic Wrestling Championship in the South by the beach. Dezzie, anything you want to say about the match at Boca Raton Championship Wrestling? Tickets still available at the Pullman Hotel.
I've got to cut my promo on Cheese tonight here. He cut a promo on me there last week talking about how, it's harder hitting friends and stuff. And honestly, that man is just such a liar. He wants to play so sincere and he wants to be such a nice guy, but I know what he did. He's done it so meticulously, right? He became friends with me. He came to the Arctic. He ate our country foods. He had an amazing cultural experience, and he took my championship. Luckily enough, Nola Bear stopped him from taking it home. But we had our second match at Boca Raton, and I figured let's up the ante here. I put my beautiful big mohawk on the line, and he beat me. But not just that he didn't just beat me. He got me with one of the most awful pins I've ever been a part of in my life, and I don't know. I hope it wasn't intentional on his part, but I got a good. It was a really brutal picture, anyways, is what it was. So I lost my hair there, which sucked because Taryn literally threw a beer at me when I went back to the house because it was like me bald is not something that was good. Me bald is like me without a beard. It's just not something I want to be.
That was the third cruise that you were, fourth cruise. You went on without the mohawk.
Yeah. So then for Five Alive, I didn't actually. I had another. I wasn't able to make it to the Boca Raton show, so Nola Bear took my place, and he wrestled Gangrel, which turned into a triple threat with Kazarian, which is fucking crazy to say that Nola Bear wrestled Kaz and Gangrel. So that's why when Matthew said to me, he said, "Hey, I want you back for Cruisin' 3, and I have ideas for your match, and who do you want to wrestle?" There's a list. You can look at that roster. I could have probably wrestled anybody on that roster, honestly, because Matthew's a friend of mine, and I could have asked him, and I just, could have curried favor.
Being a champion in your organization.
And so, not even that, just because Matthew's talked about this too, but it was when I started TAW here in the Arctic with my very limited budget that he said, wait, I could start a wrestling promotion. And then he used all of his unlimited resources to create the really awesome BRCW. So that's where we're at. Is so he called me up and said, hey, I want you to have a match. And I said, okay, great. I want to wrestle Cheeseburger again for a third time. And I know, this is the joke, right? Is that it's not a rubber match when you lose 2 times. So what am I doing? But this is it. I'm not going 0-3. That's why. And I've got a guarantee this time. I'm bringing an enforcer. Taryn is going to be with me from TDS. Taryn, my best friend here from the cruise, well known from the queen of the Drunk-Eyed Canadians. She's going to be in my corner. And believe me, this is going to be a match for the ages. It's a stacked card, and they're adding to it. Tara Zepp just got added to the Righteous there. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening with BRCW. Those guys, I tell you, it's literally what would you, and I've talked about this before, and I don't know if you guys have talked to you guys about this, but I've never seen an indie wrestling promotion. And I don't go to a lot of shows, admittedly, but I've been to a few. I've never seen an indie promotion with 6 people in the back wearing headsets, and there's TV cameras and screens, and it's like
I'm in the back a lot at the shows. It's not indie. It's
not indie. It's
how many indies you use pyro?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And nobody told me that I had pyro. They didn't tell me that pyro and smoke. So I'm literally coming up from my entrance, and I knew where my buddy was sitting, and I was going to jaw jack him right when I got out. And so all of a sudden I go out to the curtain, and it's like these huge smoke cannons, and I'm like, whoa! Canada, right?
Hey, I was on his podcast last week, and we talked about the show, and of course your match.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, I want to go to Totally Arctic Wrestling sometime.
He needs to, absolutely.
I want to come and I want to experience it. I was like, I'd go too. Like,
bro, and that's it. Is we offer, and admittedly, it's very much a dialed back indie show, right? There's a curtain. We don't have a screen. We had a projection screen for one show. There's music, but there's no lights and stuff like that, right? We don't have all that. We want to one day. But what we offer is the cultural experience outside of it, right? Coming to our town, we brought out Matt Cross. We brought him. He had a belly full of caribou meat, and he was under the Northern Lights, so he had a really awesome experience. There's dog mushing, drum dancing, a whole bunch of stuff. But,
so Jamal, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You have a close relationship with Dezzie. You guys are brothers. You have a close relationship with Cheeseburger. How do you feel about this match?
I mean, I can sit here and say that I wish them all the best. Be safe out there. Have fun. Just give a total political BS answer. But here's what I'm going to say. Do I want them to have a great time? Sure. Do I want them to have fun? Sure. Go at each other? Absolutely. Okay? But I'm just going to say this, and I don't know if Cheeseburger is going to see this or not. He may see this. But I know for a fact that, yes, Taryn is going to be there supporting Dez, and rightfully so. It's DDC, it's Drunk Eye Canadians. I get it. They are with each other through thick and thin as they should. I understand that. Would Taryn get involved? Maybe. I don't know. However, Cheeseburger, you can't sit here and be complaining about her getting involved in a match where you already know what you signed up for and what you're getting into, man. Okay, you're supposed to be the 10-plus year veteran. You should be knowing what you're getting into. And at the end of the day, sir, if you hit a woman, especially a woman that wears glasses, me and you are going to have a fucking problem. I don't put up with that at all. I think Cheeseburger needs to man up, sir, and why don't you find some services from a manager or someone who can be your valet or valet, as the word we know. But Cheese, I'm just saying, man, if you're going to be complaining about somebody else bringing someone else to the table, bro, why don't you get some backup?
Right.
There we go. It's set. I can't wait for it. I will be there. Now, previewing this cruise upcoming, we've talked about past memories. We've talked about Dezzie's big match the night before. I'm so glad you're back on the card this year. Dezzie, we'll start with you. What are you looking forward to about this year's cruise, besides the usual of seeing all the people you love there?
Yeah, obviously. I think, seeing all the people I love. I'm just kidding. The open mic. I think I'm just gonna sit it with that. The open mic. I've been asking for it for years and years and years. And Chris said, you've been asking for it, so here it is. So I'm looking forward to getting up there and telling some jokes and having a really fun time and just seeing what other people have too. Because I know there's a lot of funny people on the boat, a lot of talented people on the boat, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Ragers Got Talent. So,
Jamal, this upcoming cruise?
Yeah, so definitely the open mic will be interesting. I will definitely be around for that. So I know Dez will be there, so I'll be around for that to support him on that. Because Lord knows everybody knows I'm everywhere on that boat, but I'm gonna definitely get there when I get there for sure when I can when he's there. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely curious about the Nigel McGuinness Magic Show. I want to check that out.
Yes.
And I'm definitely also looking forward to. They did it last year. RJ City's ad lib thing, comedy thing, that was very well done. That was very
awesome.
good. Really good.
For me, it's the beach party.
Yeah,
we've never had one of those in this cruise at port.
Yeah,
I think that should be interesting, and the Joe Hendry concert. Besides seeing you on open mic, I'll be there. I'll be there cheering you on. But to try different things, the Joe Hendry concert.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be there or not? We don't know.
I think he will definitely be there. I think he's.
They wouldn't be advertising it, but you never know in the wrestling business.
I don't know, man. He's double duty. I think he's double duty that weekend, man. I think we all know he's going to be in Indianapolis as well. I think too.
Yeah. What are the dates? When can he jump off? When is he going to do a Ric Flair, Rey Mysterio deal thing where he just hops off?
I think
we leave on Friday. We leave on Friday. The Rumble's Saturday. So he can't do that part. If he were,
so he'll be on the second half of the boat.
He would have to do what Orange Cassidy and Daniel Garcia did last year. Meet us.
Okay, cool. There we go. That's what it'll be because that's cool.
To get from Indianapolis to Puerto Vallarta ain't that easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Last year was easier for Garcia and Cassidy where we were at.
Yeah, that's a bit of a U-Haul, especially from Indianapolis, though. You got to haul ass to make it there Sunday.
Yeah, so it can be done. It'll be a challenge.
So now that we're talking about Joe Hendry, just really quick, guys.
Please.
What do you think about that video of them interviewing Hendry when they said, like, who's going to be your call out here? And he called out Cena. I think this is the greatest thing that could happen is honestly, somebody mentioned it too, right? If John Cena uses the TNA championship to break the record, that's such a rub for TNA. That's such a huge deal for TNA. What do you guys think? I'm seeing faces. What do you guys think?
I don't think Cena would go for it. He is such a loyalist.
Yeah, I don't see him going.
Such a loyalist, man. He won't even watch AEW just casually.
Jeez.
Really? He doesn't.
Yeah, he said that. He's like, no, I don't. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Damn.
Well, I mean, he's a busy man.
Do that. Remember, he said, if my career ever ended and I still had something in the tank, I wouldn't do indie shows.
Yeah, I remember.
Well,
yeah.
He's made so much money too, like so he doesn't need the indies, and he's a busy man. He's doing other stuff too. So I mean,
and he's the most like he's atypical now, where it's not like Randy the Ram, where it used to just be like, hey, come see Abdullah the Butcher, for $20. You're never gonna see a John Cena. Come see John Cena for $20. You know what I mean? Like he'll never be at that stage. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, he's supposed to be an A-lister, like Hollywood actor and all this other stuff too. It's kind of like, it's kind of higher up than.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, are you saying if he were to win the Rumble, he'd call out Joe Hendry, or just have a match with him? He won't do it on the TNA ring. I
think so. That's what I'm saying. Is that Joe Hendry calls him out? Yeah. I think that I think Cena wins the Rumble and goes on, and maybe he teases it. But I see him maybe later on in the year challenging Hendry for it, and like either he beats him for it or he doesn't. But I just think that's money. I think if you're Joe Hendry, the number one thing you can do is call out the biggest guy in the yard, and John Cena's goodbye year. I mean, that's money right there,
I think Cena's all for it. And now they announced the partnership, they can do it in WWE.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah, they can't do it.
Great SummerSlam match. I don't know.
Who wins the Rumble this year, though?
Who wins? Oh, that's a great question. It's the most stacked year ever.
That's hard, man.
I'm a Roman Reigns guy.
I think so too. I think they're going to stack Roman versus Cody again. Do you think they're going to do that again, or what do you think they're going to go?
I don't think they're going to do that.
As a babyface. So who eliminates him to take that heat is the question. If he were to not win,
I mean, Kevin Owens is doing pretty good right now too, right? So
as a heel,
yeah.
I don't know. Who do you think? I love this talk.
Well, me or Des?
You first.
Anybody, it's open for him.
Oh,
open mic
night. Man, I gotta say, it is between like Punk and Roman.
I think so too.
I don't see John winning it. I can see maybe John Cena winning like Elimination Chamber and facing another champion, or like the world title or something like that.
They played the undercard role with Cena with.
Well, he doesn't like to take that. He doesn't want to take that top dog spot, right? He wants to have the sort of the lower road to it. As big as he is, he still wants to take that, and give somebody else the rub. That's why I agree too. I don't think that John. That's why I see Hendry versus Cena happening at Mania, because I see Hendry costing him the match in the Rumble, and it's like, okay, look, if you don't want me to win, if you don't want me to have that, then I'm coming for yours, and I'm just going to take it from you at the biggest show of them all. And I just see it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see Hendry and Cena having like a face off or something like that. Like I can see Cena wanting to go for like, okay, he called me up, busted open. Like, okay, let's have this moment then. Let's just test how the crowd feels about it. They're gonna get big pop and gauge.
Could you imagine in the build up to Mania, Hendry and Cena having a face off where Cena does a rap and Hendry sings?
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's so much here.
Wrestling.
Can you imagine Hendry starts a concert and it's interrupted by the Doctor of Thugonomics? Like that'd be insane.
Oh my god.
I know Jamal's ratings for this Netflix.
Bro,
does Brock Lesnar return and win and challenge Gunther, leaving the winner of the Elimination Chamber to face Cody? Because Brock might be like, Cody, you beat me twice. Gunther's on his bucket list to wrestle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Brock is going to come back eventually. Probably at one last run, so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, he's always ready too, right? Like, he's always good to go. But CM Punk winning, I love CM Punk using Hulk Hogan as cheap heat was hilarious. That cheap pop.
That popped me so fucking hard. I was
that was great.
Bro. Holy shit.
I don't know. I think he will come back. John, my friend John Brock isn't coming back. But No, that's why I'm wondering. And Punk has the favor from Paul Heyman.
Yep, and that was it too, right? That was
The
the
thing
big
is,
one.
if he doesn't win, but let's say Roman wins, but he uses the favor to take it from Roman, then he becomes a heel.
Yeah, I think the favor is going to come into play WrestleMania seasons because that's what I thought when that favor came into play. I'm like, it's going to happen around WrestleMania season. It's going to come into play around there.
Yeah,
and we don't know what the favor is, but I think Punk's even bigger babyface than they planned on.
Yeah, well, I think that thing with him and Rollins too really lit it up there the other week. Holy shit!
Yeah,
and that match was fantastic.
No, it was good. It's just amazing.
I just can't root against Roman. I just can't, man. That's my guy. Rumble is so awesome because you just never know.
Yeah, you literally don't.
The best ones. That's the best ones. It's like when you don't know. It's always some years. It's always that one or two favorite. Like, oh, you know they're gonna win. Oh, you're like, yeah. But when it's like you don't, just not a clear answer. It's more exciting.
Like when Shinsuke eliminated Roman that year, I fucking lost my brains. I thought Shinsuke was gonna win it that year. So when he eliminated Roman Reigns, I was like, yo, freaking out. Like I was just like, please, like let this just be a thing. But like, yeah.
I mean, Dave LaGreca had a crazy scenario the other day where, check this out, he had Jey Uso beating Gunther at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Really?
Sami Zayn winning the Rumble.
Really?
And challenging his fellow Uso.
Huh.
And he goes, the story writes itself.
That is so left field. I don't see that happening.
I don't need, now that Kevin Owens did the whole
best
friends thing again.
Nah, no one's touching
Sami Zayn like Jey Uso like storyline that's had a 3-year storyline build.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, but I just don't see him beating. I call him Walter. I hate the name Gunther, but no one's touching that world title. He ain't dropping that title.
But Brock would put him over if it makes sense, and that would just elevate him.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Brock will do business. You know, like he will do business if it's right.
He likes you, he'll sell.
Yeah.
If he likes you, but I think for Gunther he would sell.
Absolutely, he would.
You gotta give him a reason to sell. That's another thing too. You gotta actually do. Yeah.
That's what Samoa Joe did with Brock. He earned Brock's respect in the build-up.
I want to see more of Samoa Joe. I love Joe so much, man.
Oh, how can you not like Samoa Joe? It's like, to me, there's like a list of maybe 10 or 20 wrestlers that you're just never going to hear anyone say a bad thing about. Everybody else is 50-50.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, guys, it looks like we're winding this thing down. I know I sound like Talk is Jericho there. I can't thank you both enough. Anything you guys want to say at the end? Jamal, Dezzie? Dezzie, we didn't talk about your documentary. Did you want to talk about that? Or
yeah, I mean, well, it's out there. The Death Tour documentary. I was really, really blessed to be a part of that. It actually happened after the 4th Jericho cruise. I got to go out into the northern Manitoba there for a couple of weeks, which sucked because I didn't have my wrestling gear with me. So I didn't have any of my gear and stuff with me for this awesome trip, but I managed to make it through. And the documentary is great. It played across the States. I think it's going to be on demand here pretty soon.
I need to watch it. I've been meaning to reach out to you about that.
So like there's 2 versions of it. There's an edited version that's on like CBC Gem and a couple of apps now. But that's like rated. And so a lot of my material got booted. So there's like, they went from 90 minutes to 45 minutes. And I'm like, I got all my stuff is cut. So it's like a much more different movie now. Like it's more serious.
I want to see the legit one.
It's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, the legit one. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for the opportunity, man. I
fucking
love it. And I can't wait to
Jamal, thanks for the run-in. Jamal, anything you want to add at the end?
Oh, man. Shit. I mean, we're what? 9 days out, something like that. 8. Holy shit.
8 days tomorrow.
8 days tomorrow. My gosh. Wow. Time is creeping up. I'm looking forward to all the chaos, the shenanigans, the hanging out the house. I'm actually staying at the Mustard Mansion this year with the gang for once now. And just
I love it.
The shenanigans, the strip clubs, the freaking
no, none of that.
Oh, come on, man. It's Miami, man.
You're
You're
going to the library somewhere.
no,
It's a great public library in Miami. You'll love it. Like, I'm born and raised in Miami. I'll give you all the library.
no.
That's a
Coffee
great
shops.
counter offer.
Coffee shops.
We live it up down there, and of course, once we get to the ship, it's gonna be a great time. And yeah, we got to make the best of this one, y'all. Because after this one, we're gone for 18 months, man.
It's a break.
Yeah,
Really?
Break.
October 2026.
Yep,
I
that's
didn't
the
know
next
that. I thought it was. Oh wow! And then he gets back on the spring schedule.
one. Yep. Well, yeah, he's trying. I think he's trying to go back to the October schedule. It seems like, but yeah, October 2026 will be number 7.
Well, and then you know what? Let's make this one count, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my favorite people, not just on the cruise, but in the world, right here. So thank you both for coming on. We got to do this after the cruise and do like a recap episode, man.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'm down.
All right, Jamal, thanks for the run-in, man, and not for hitting us with a chair. You didn't hit us with a chair. Thank you.
Oh no, I would never do that.
All right, fellas. Thank you so much, man.
Have a great day, man. See ya.